Mm, yes, in Senegal, as I said earlier, we always have problem to cover our food needs. But for the last few years, it's getting worse and worse every time. If I can just give you an example, uh, like our needs in rice, because we consume in a lot of rice in Senegal, and we produce just 250 tons, and we import like 600 tons per year. Our agriculture production has been failing for several years. If we give an example, 18.2% in 2006, followed by 4.2% in decline in 2007. And earlier in 2008, the shock created by the price volatility in the world led to food riots earlier in Senegal. So when we interview farmers while we were doing the research, ActionAid research, their priority is to access to agricultural inputs and equipment. And then they want to access also to drinking water and irrigations, and to support to improve seed quality and on their exploitation. In some, in general too, they want to access to market for some for sweet potatoes, banana, and other locally produces foods. So they have priorities, and our priorities is how to be sufficient in food production, how we can be independent from importing food from the other side. If we know that some countries are using right now the cereal to produce ethanol, we need right now to produce our own food to be sufficient and not to be dependent to the world. That's our priority. And we try as a civil society organization to bring our government to raise the investment in agriculture productions in order to get our food sovereignty in Senegal.
I mean, research definitely shows that there's been a drastic decline in agricultural investment over the past few years, drastic declines. So in your opinions, why have we moved in that direction where investment continues to be reduced over and over again, but yet it's obvious that investment is needed? We need to invest in these small farmers, because as much as other countries might want to give in food aid, you cannot sustain or support another country, especially when it wants to sustain itself. So why not empower different people to be able to produce their own food and move in that direction? And yet we continue to decrease our agricultural investments. So in your opinion, why do you think we're moving in that direction?
I mean, I don't want to say that we are being driven by international policies, but can I say in our country, we need to put in place a good agricultural policy. Yes. And not just to following international demands, because we have our own reality in Africa. Developed countries already have their food security before they start to try to get biofuel production. But what we need in Africa, the main energy we need is the food. Food for human first, energy for human first, before we get anything else. So we need to increase our food production as it was recommended had the objective, the GM goal, Millennium Goal objective, try to reduce poverty to 2015. We need to increase at least, to put at least 10% of our national budgets on food production. That's my opinion.
I would say that in Guatemala, this is a political matter because the government is oriented to this kind of investments. It's pushing. It's how to say it. It's in favor of this kind of investments. And besides the state policies, there are the international financial institutions that are also pushing in this direction. We have the Development International Bank, which is promoting this kind of plantations and production in Guatemala, and it's bringing up credits and assessment for these kind of enterprises, which are both national capital and also transnational capital investments.
Food production seems like it's now having to compete for land use with biofood production. In your opinions, what are some of the ethical and moral implications that we are running in? Whenever it's, do we use this for energy, or do we use this to feed starving sometimes people, or people who need food? And the way that you put it is, before we have energy, we need energy for people, people to consume food. So, what, in your opinion, what are some of the ethical implications that we?
Yes, I would say that what is happening in our country, it's a violation of the right to food of our people. We have to be aware that hunger is getting worse all around the world. In our country, just in 2008, we had the percentage of people in situation of poverty just increased from 56 to 58% just in 1 year. And in extreme poverty, it was the same from 21% to 23%. We are talking about people that cover their daily needs with less than $1. So this is an ethical problem. I think developed countries have to think it over. They are talking about switching from one type of, from petroleum to agrofuels, but they are not talking about changing their consumption habits. And this is a problem.
Yes, I really agree with that. I think they need to review their consumption, and they need also to review the targets about agrofuels. Yeah.